Hey, my name is Eric, and in today's video, we're talking about how to start an LLC in New Jersey. And before we get to the content, there are two really important things we're going to be discussing in this video. One of them is a term called piercing the corporate veil, and the other one is a term called registered agents. If you're not familiar with either of those terms, you're going to watch this whole video because setting up an LLC, yes, you're starting your business and you're joining 80% of all new business owners that set up LLCs, but more importantly, you want to make sure that it's set up correctly so it's actually functioning properly and protecting you and helping you to limit your liability. So in the video, we're going to be talking about three different methods on how you can set up your LLC. The first is going through your state website. The second is going through free legal online tools. And the third, if you have a more complex business model, is going through with an attorney, which yes, costs more, but I'm going to give you a little tip also towards the end of this video on how you can get a free consult with an attorney that is an LLC attorney. So what I want to start with is the New Jersey state website. So what you can see up here is the link up here. All the links and resources that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video are going to be in the description below. Some of these links will be free resources, such as the one we're looking at the screen right now. Others will be affiliates, and I will make mention where it's an affiliate link. So as we scroll down, one of the things I want to do is I want to open this up. So this is for-profit corporations. So if you're setting up an LLC, there's a little bit of information in here. And one of the interesting things in New Jersey is, unlike most states, is they require you to get an EIN number from the IRS before you can continue. So if you click on that link, it'll take you here. You can determine your eligibility, walk through the process, and apply online now for a EIN number. I have found going through the IRS, because I did this for my own as setting up my own LLC, it's a really big pain in the butt. So I will give you one other service or tool that'll do this for you, but you're going to need to do that before you set up with the state website. Now, the other thing to make mention of here is it's $125 for all profit entities and foreign nonprofit corporations. So there's about $125 to $130 depending on which service you're using as far as a filing fee in the state of New Jersey. There's no getting around that. If you hire an attorney, you're still going to have to pay that filing fee. One of the things too I want to make mention of is the difference between a foreign and domestic LLC, because it's talking about a foreign nonprofit corporation. Basically what that is if you had a business that had an LLC in Pennsylvania, but it was doing business inside of New Jersey, you may have a domestic LLC in Pennsylvania and then a foreign LLC in New Jersey. In your case, you're most likely doing business within New Jersey, so that's going to be a domestic LLC in New Jersey. So once you get started, you're going to file your certificate online here. And one of the things I wanted to show you is as far as your business name search, so you can do it through this tool. Now, of course, if I put in something like New Jersey Devils, right? This name is probably going to be taken. So what you'll see is it says similar business found, New Jersey Devils LLC. What you want to do is you want to come up with a name where there's no other business names available. So of course, if I go like this and just put in a crazy thing, it's just going to say is available. I wouldn't recommend naming your business this because it's really hard to remember. But I just wanted to make mention of this tool right here. So if we go back to the screen though, one of the things that I want to make mention of, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, is a registered agent. So this is one of the big issues I have with the state websites is they don't really get into the details of the importance of a registered agent. So before I get into what a registered agent is, I think it's important to discuss exactly what an LLC is, because sometimes people get a little bit confused on what an LLC is and what it is not. Some people think there might be a tax advantage by setting up an LLC. That is not true. An LLC is for limiting your liability. When you have a business, and no matter what business it is, there may be liabilities in some areas. And what an LLC does is you have your business assets and your personal assets. Your personal assets could be like your personal bank account, a car, your personal home. But then when you create an LLC, it creates what's called a corporate veil between your business and personal assets. So unfortunately, if you're ever in the case where you're getting sued, the attorney suing you can only come after your business assets and not your personal assets. Now, this is only the case if that attorney attacking you and your business cannot pierce the corporate veil. I mentioned that earlier in the video. Basically, what they're doing in that situation is they're trying to find a crack in your LLC. And there's numerous ways that there might be a crack in your LLC where it's not set up correctly, you're not maintaining it correctly, and one of them is a registered agent. So sometimes people will go through this and, you have a registered agent, and if it's your buddy down the street that lives in New Jersey, he checks the box there and, he's going to be my registered agent because I want to save a few dollars. Now, the issue with that is if this person is not a professional, they may not be crossing their T's and dotting their I's. So why don't we talk about what is a registered agent? So this service here is called Incfile. They do a good job of explaining what a registered agent is. I'm going to be talking about them more later on in the video, but basically it's official letters and correspondence from your Secretary of State, service and process notices. So if you're sued by that attorney, your registered agent is going to make sure you're getting the proper documentation, notifications, and showing up for court. Official federal government correspondence, information, and notifications. Tax forms and requests for payment, and then requests to complete permits, company filings, or reports. So all of these things that your registered agent is doing for you is making sure that your LLC is legit so that, again, somebody can't pierce that corporate veil and find a crack in your LLC and be able to come after you not only for your business assets, but your personal assets. So that's why it's so important that you get a good registered agent for your business and you don't just kind of wing it and throw in some random person's information and say, hey, do you mind doing this for me? The other issue that I have with these state websites is if you go back here, it's just a lot of information, right? They just don't do a good job of what's called UI, UX. It's user interface, user experience. And there's just so many things to kind of look at and get through. So in my opinion, with the state of New Jersey, it's a little bit tougher just because it's a little sloppy as far as the online registration. Now, another way that you can go is you can go through a tool such as LegalZoom. You've probably heard of them. They've been around for a long time. And one of the nice things about LegalZoom is they spend so much money, again, on what I was calling UI, UX. That's when you're on a website. It's just kind of like how easy is it for you to use? How informative is it? Is it helping you get from A to B as quickly as possible, making sure you're taking care of everything you're supposed to be taking care of? But the downside of this is that there is a $79 fee on top of your filing fees. So in New Jersey, it's like $125, $130 for that filing fee, but they're going to charge an additional $79 on top of that. Now, before I was talking about Incfile, and as you see, they've done about 250,000 businesses launched since 2004. Entrepreneur, top 360 best in entrepreneurial companies. So it's a trustworthy company. But the thing you're going to like is down here is that it's $0 plus state fee. So I'm going to explain why they are charging $0 on their starter package and how that works. Because if you're like me, you're probably thinking like there's got to be a catch. So if you're using this tool right here, I'm going to click Launch My Business. And then you're going to select entity type, LLC. And as I mentioned, 80% of all new businesses are set up as LLC. It's very popular. And then New Jersey. So as we scroll down here, this is where you're going to see that they have the state fee at $130. According to them, it is $5 more expensive than what it says on the New Jersey website. I wouldn't be surprised if the New Jersey website is outdated on that. And then it's a $0 package fee. So they're actually making no money on this when they're setting you up. Now, one of the things that they do also is they give you a free registered agent service for a year. So this is going to be somebody who is an official registered agent and lives in New Jersey and is going to be that official correspondent between you and your business. And the nice thing about that registered agent too is it acts as a third party. So your personal information, if you're running a business out of your home or something like that, that information is not going to be out there. Somebody's going to be sending documentation and correspondence to that registered agent at a separate address. But what you need to know is that it says it's for a year. So why don't we take a look at that? And if you go back to this article here, and they kind of bury it a little bit down the page. But as we go down, I'm going to highlight this here. It says it's even free for the first year when you incorporate with Incfile and just $119 annually after that. So if you go through this Incfile service, the way it works is it's $0 in the silver package, and then it's free registered agent service for a year. But then after a year, it's $119 a year for that service. You don't have to continue using their service. You can choose to use somebody else. But in my opinion, if you're setting up an LLC, the whole purpose you're doing it is to limit your liability and get your business off the ground. You don't want to have a crack in there. Make sure you have a good registered agent service that's going to make sure that you're, again, dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Now, I did mention earlier, there are these upgraded packages here. And now you can see that they'll charge $149 for the package fee for the gold package. What you do get with that is they actually set up your EIN business tax number. So in the case of New Jersey, which is very unusual compared to most states don't require you to get this before applying for an LLC. That is the case in New Jersey. That is nice. The other thing I want to kind of take a highlight of here is the business banking account. Currently, they are set up through Bank of America, and this is really important. Again, you can have a crack in your LLC if you have issues with a term called Commingling Funds. So you can probably guess what that means, but basically, if you have a personal bank account and you're handling obviously your personal finances and on that, your personal credit card, but then you start taking income from your business into that account, and then you're paying vendors and you're paying invoices out of that account. What you're doing is you're commingling your personal and business funds in one bank account. So that's why it's really important that you separate that and you have a business bank account for your business. It's also going to make things such as taxes and like going back and looking up information a lot easier by doing that. But most importantly, it's going to make it so you don't have a crack in your LLC, because if an attorney were to come after you and they find that you're commingling funds, they may be able to pierce the corporate veil, which all this hopefully makes sense now, and then be able to not only go after your business assets, but your personal assets as well. One thing I have noticed though, when I've gone through this package here on the silver, is the business banking account. They did offer that as a free upsell on the silver package because it really doesn't cost them anything extra. But I just wanted to make mention of it because it's so important that you get that business bank account set up. Now, if you were to click here and get the silver package, what it's going to do is it's just like this 4 steps here. You're already 25% of the way done here. I just wanted to make note of the tax saving benefit. The $130 for the state filing fee, that is fully tax deductible. So just make sure you bring that up at tax time with your CPA and keep that receipt. And it's going to walk you through. And again, you can see it's just a lot cleaner with the UI, UX, as I was mentioning, and being able to get through. But at this particular junction of the video, I do want to make mention, if you have a more complex business, like you're already creating profits, you're doing sales in and out of state, you have a lot of potential liabilities because some businesses tend to carry more liability than others, you may want to consult with an attorney. So one tool that I like for that is this tool called Avo. I'm going to give you this specific link in the description below. And the reason I like this is if you're looking at this, there's 133 results for limited liability company lawyers in New Jersey. That's a lot to sift through, but what you can do is you can filter it down by ones with a 4-star rating and up. And their reviews, in my opinion, are pretty good. I think sometimes like Google reviews and Yelp reviews can be a little manipulated. But then what I'd also do is click this right here. And we're going to click free consultation. So now we're going to go from those 33 results down to 12 results. So now what we're looking at is 12 attorneys who can set up an LLC for you in New Jersey, but they also offer a free 15-minute consultation. Because sometimes some attorneys, it's really like you're going to start running the meter as soon as you start talking with them. In this case, it's kind of nice if you do need an attorney that you can have a free consultation. And again, I'd really recommend that if you have a complex business model, you need to do what's right for your situation. Sometimes the DIY route can make sense. A lot of times it doesn't. It's really up to you. If it was me, I would go through either Incfile, because there's the opportunity for them to set you up that EIN if you want to do the elevated package, which is a pain in the butt. I had to do that for my own business. I set up an LLC for myself. I'm not a CPA or attorney. I've just done a lot of research on these topics, and that's why I'm creating this video for you, to share that information with you. Also, if you do use the Incfile link in the description below, there's an affiliate link, so I'll receive a commission, which I appreciate because it allows me to make more helpful content like this for other people starting businesses just like you. Now, the advantage of going with an attorney is they're really going to make sure that things are buttoned up, but just be aware that it may cost you anywhere from $800 to $3,000 to get an LLC set up through an attorney, whereas if you go through, say, Incfile, you might be looking at just your state fee or maybe $100, $200 more, depending on if you were to upgrade your package. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I have an Incfile review, and in that review, around the 230 mark of that video, I talk about S-Corp versus an LLC. If you already have like $40,000 to $60,000 of profit in your business, that's net profit, you may want to consider an S-Corp because you may be able to save on taxes. Again, LLC does not do that, but an S-Corp has the potential to help you save on taxes, and I talk about that in that video. And again, guys, I appreciate you using my links, and I'll catch you in that next video.